Shalom, Kahalo Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, Hashem Kodash, double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops at GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us his truth, and shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing the word in truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. My brother Yahshua, I'm back with the WW3 Daily update. Shalom and salutations to you that are with us. All right, so we're going to start right here at Joel 2. At the top, locusts invade like an army. Okay, what does that mean? Not an army, not a traditional army. But these locusts are those nuclear bombs. Okay, sound the trumpet in Jerusalem, raise the alarm on my holy mountain, let everyone tremble in fear. Okay, because why? Because the day of the Lord is upon us. We're close. Okay, there's only one major prophecy. Okay, because we are in Jacob's trouble, but that M-O-T to the B, mark of the biatch, is the only thing standing between those nukes. It is a day of darkness and gloom, a day of thick clouds and deep blackness. Suddenly, like dawn spreading across the mountains, a great and mighty army appears. Nothing like it has been seen before or will ever be seen again. Fire burns in front of them. This goes into those missiles. And flames follow after them. Okay? It's going to describe these missiles like an army. Okay? Fire burns in front of them. That's the nuclear warhead. And flames follow after them. That's the propellant. Okay? That's how the rocket propels itself or propels the warhead. Ahead of them, the land lies as beautiful as the Garden of Eden. Behind them is nothing but desolation. Not one thing escapes. They look like horses. They charge forward like war horses. Look at them as they leap along the mountaintop. This is talking about the missiles. Listen to the noise they make, like the rumbling of chariots, like the roar of fire sweeping across a field of stubble, or like a mighty army moving into battle. Fear grips all the people. People are scared right now. Every face grows pale with terror. Okay? The attackers march like warriors and scale city walls like soldiers. All right? And it goes on. But let's focus on this. Fear grips all the people. Now, let's watch this. We are all worried, fear, about what Putin might do. What is Putin going to do? Even if he doesn't do it, we all know how this devil gets down. He's going to explode some shit and blame it on Putin. So it's already set. CNN yesterday, U.S. Senator Gene Shaheen says, given Vladimir Putin's irrational, what does it say? Wars and rumors of war, it's critical that NATO stay united against Russian aggression. So they can't even see. They can't see where this is leading. And they would never believe that mutually assured destruction is on the horizon. They don't think so. Oh, he's not that stupid. He wouldn't kill himself and all his people. The Most High is controlling everything. All right? Yes, it's suicide. So let's listen to a little bit of this. Then I got one more, and we'll go ahead and close it.
Jean Shaheen is a Democratic senator and a senior member of both the Foreign Relations and Armed Services Committee. She just completed a visit to the Balkans, at risk there because of Russia's war in Ukraine, and is now here in London for talks in this NATO ally hub.
Okay, now listen to the language being used, all right? Everything is Russia's fault. Everything is Vlad's fault. But these are the people pushing up on his border. Okay, these are the people giving ammunition, soldiers, money, so that Ukraine, as a proxy, can push up. And don't think that NATO ain't there, which is a bunch of different countries, or the EU, which is a bunch of different countries, and Babylon the Great, which is America, don't think that they're not there pushing up on Vlad. Vlad don't have no choice. Okay, either back down and Russia falls, or fight until and everybody dies. What does the Bible say? The Bible says all nations are going to be subdued by Yahweh Shai. This is what they don't understand. Doesn't matter how many times we say it, they can't hear us. Right? And they're gonna destroy the world as we. Most High is going to cause them to annihilate themselves. Okay.
And she joins me here on the set.
Nice to be with you.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So there you see the result of American and NATO support for your Ukrainian allies. It's also very risky now and high stakes. What are you thinking as you sit here? You've just come back from close to that region.
Well, it goes to show why this allied partnership with the West and NATO in support of Ukraine is so important, because the supplies, the support we're giving Ukraine has allowed them to take back Liman, which is an important transportation hub. The Russians were planning to use it as a logistics operation to supply Donetsk and
to fight for their border. They're supposed to be doing that. They're supposed to be getting NATO off of its border when actually Ukraine is Russia. See? Don't let them explain that. That's like Russia being in Cuba, right, with nukes sitting there a few miles offshore.
Hans. So this has been an important victory for Ukraine, but as the report pointed out, there's a lot more that has to be done.
There's a lot more that has to be done to gain back the territory if they want to push Russia out. But how much more will the US and NATO tolerate beyond or before they think that it might spook Putin into doing something really inadmissible? Are you worried about that?
Well, I think we're all worried about what Putin...
And this language, okay, if you don't know a forked tongue when you see it, what they're doing, this language allows them to drop a bomb and blame it on Putin. Oh, well, he used a nuke first, and now we escalate, which is fine by me. Okay? But listen to the language. Oh, it's all Vladimir's fault that we're on his doorstep threatening to shut Russia down. It's all Vlad's fault. And when we do this false flag, that was his fault too.
Might do because he's acting irrationally. Going into Ukraine in that unprovoked war, thinking that he was going to take over the country.
It wasn't unprovoked. This war's been going on since 2009, long before America staged the coup and inserted Zelensky, and the war in the Donbass, right there on the border, started taking off. That thing started at the very least in 2013. So unprovoked and suddenly, listen to the language, okay? Weasel words.
What Putin might do because he's acting irrationally. Going into Ukraine in that unprovoked war, thinking that he was going to take over the country just for his own expansionist dreams, I think was irrational. But that's all the more reason why it's very important for the West to stay united in supporting Ukraine. I had an opportunity to meet with 4 women Ukrainian soldiers last week. And one of the things one young woman sergeant told me, and she'd been fighting in the eastern region of Ukraine really for years now. And she told me, you need to give us the weapons so that we can fight so that you don't have to.
How can we?
And I think it's important, and I talk to my constituents, and we in the Senate believe that it's important for us to continue to keep our support for Ukraine, to partner very closely with our allies, and the partnership we have with the United Kingdom has been very important in that. The partnership with NATO has been very important to ensure that we can help the Ukrainians defeat the Russians and hold Putin accountable.
Okay, so you're a politician. You just mentioned your constituents. And many political leaders are in a bind right now because they're saying, how much more of this can we inflict on our people? Inflation, food poverty, energy, soaring energy prices because of what Putin's doing. But you have come back believing that the alliance can stay together, as they say, for as long as it has to push Putin back?
I do.
Wow.
Before you renew Amazon Prime.
Okay, good enough. We'll move to the next one. All right, you hear the language? It's just crazy. So my point is that
President Biden.
this is going nowhere. Okay, this war is going nowhere, but it's going to culminate into MAD, the acronym MAD, mutually assured destruction. So this is today, Major Glenn Ignazio on Putin, nuclear threats. Okay, so the word nuclear, right, is trending and will not stop trending. This is going to be the talk, right, for the next 2 years, if that's how long it takes. Nuke this, nuke that. He threatened. Look at this, nuclear threats. All right.
President Biden responding to Russian President Vladimir Putin's latest escalation of the war and his continued nuclear threats.
Okay, so it's Vladimir Putin is escalating. Vlad is not on our doorstep. Okay, he will be because we're on his. Okay. All right. That's what's going on. An escalate. Who's escalating? All right. Who's escalating? Who is, like they said in the previous broadcast, who's funding, giving weapons and money and troops to so-called Ukraine? Okay.
Back again with us this morning, Major Glenn Ignazio, retired U.S. Air Force Special Operations Commander and President of Limiting Factors, LLC. Good to have you with us. Is the president's messaging strong enough for Vladimir Putin?
Let's read this real quick. Okay, this is today, probably less than an hour ago. Putin raises the specter of using nuclear weapons. Here's what's trending. Okay, it's hard to say if Putin bluffing on nuclear. Putin said, I am not bluffing. When Putin says, I'm not bluffing, what is that talking about? It's talking about nuclear weapons. The scriptures are talking about nuclear weapons. The scriptures say that the world as we know it will end in nuclear fire. So what time would you say that it was right now?
Well, I hope so. I also think that the actions with a lot of our deployments that are really beefing up the border, say in Poland and so forth, I think that the action is really what's important versus the words. That's how Putin really responds to things, is by action and by strength. And we have put a lot of forces on those particular borders just in case. It's really one of the things is that you have now escalated this to nuclear capable.
Is that Prince? Slovakia. Is that Prince right there? There's Lake Minnetonka. All right, here we go.
To nuclear capable type of conflict. Would we respond in kind? Man, that would be really dangerous. And again, Ukraine is not a member of NATO, so NATO may not respond accordingly. But boy, how do you contain that type of nuclear assault? That would really be something of a contention, especially with NATO being right there on the border.
Major, what do you make of these latest reports of the frustration growing, not just in Moscow, but within the Kremlin, about the status of the war and some of the casualties that Russia has experienced with its military effort?
Yeah, they've been extensive. And remember, we had this 300,000 call up recently, and these are troops that are, or at least they're not going to be trained whatsoever. I mean, we saw conscripts in the beginning, which was a huge slaughter for Russia. Then we had some seriously trained soldiers that were also beat up. And this 300,000, which did not go over well within Russia, is not going to be good for them. There's going to be extensive losses.
We're seeing the Ukrainians with the upper hand right now. Do you feel like the tide has shifted? Is this a war of attrition, or do you think that Russia is quickly running out of steam?
Well, it's definitely running out of steam, and there has been significant gains. I mean, they've lost about another 10%. So you saw again in the northeast, south of Kharkiv and Lyman, as we mentioned yesterday, Lyman is really key for logistics and communication. They lost that, and there's an incredible front towards the south, which is actually south of Mykolaiv in the Kherson area. That was one of the biggest strongholds that Russia held. So these strong areas that Russia has said is now their territory are really being, the penetration of the Ukrainian forces have been significant. So Russia's losses have been significant and Ukraine's gains have been phenomenal, but it's still a lot of effort to push them completely out of Ukraine, and that could take many months.
Yeah, Putin.
Okay, so after watching this, see, here's what happened last week. All right. They had a vote, right, on which of those 4 provinces wanted to be on the side of Russia or on the side of the Ukraine. All 4 of them said, we're on the side of the, and Vlad Putin said, okay, now these provinces now belong to Russia, and if anybody comes in here doing anything, we're going to respond because it's now Russia. All you've seen in the last 2 days is this. Ukrainian troops retake territory. What are you doing? You're supposed to be out of there. They had a fair and legal vote that you're not even taking into. So it's on and cracking. Whatever Vlad is doing right now, it's on and cracking. He has to do it. Okay? So you're not even taking into consideration that you're in Russia, right? How do you do this? So both sides. Vlad is fighting on his border. Okay? America is saying, Ukraine, here's some more weapons. Come on. Come on. What if Russia was funding China, okay, to be on our border? What if they ran up and put a whole bunch of troops in Alaska and were fighting their way down into Canada, into America? Would that be okay? Anybody who is uh, uh, consenting to America giving the Ukraine weapons and money? You're not even thinking. Okay? Now, I want to go back to the previous and see, while this war is going on, what's going on in America? And they said it. They said it clearly. They alluded to it, and then they jumped right up off of it. Okay, let's go back here to this one. Let me see if I can find it. Bear with me for a second. I'm going to find it because she quickly said how this is affecting the United States. And they went around it quickly, although they did raise the specter. Let's see. Look at this bullshit. So bear with me. But what's going on in America? See, because while World War is going on, what do? Ask the Japanese what happened to them in America when World War II was going on. Let me see. We have to continue our support. We have to fight. Give us the weapons to fight so that you don't have to. You see this? You see the language? Bear with me, I'm going to find this. Its own expansion dreams unprovoked war. How much more will the U.S. and NATO tolerate? Let's see. That's not it. Allied partnership. I have to watch it from the start. Okay, let's watch it.
You see the result of American and NATO support for your Ukrainian allies. It's also very risky now and high stakes. What are you thinking as you sit here? You've just come back from close to that region.
Well, it goes to show why this allied partnership with the West and NATO in support of Ukraine is so important, because the supplies, the support we're giving Ukraine has allowed them to take back Liman, which is an important transportation hub. The Russians were planning to use it as a logistics operation to supply Donetsk and Luhansk. So this has been an important victory for Ukraine, but as the report pointed out, there's a lot more that has to be done.
There's a lot more that has to be done to gain back the territory if they want to push Russia out. But how much more will the US and NATO tolerate beyond or before they think that it might spook Putin into doing something really inadmissible? Are you worried about that?
Well, I think we're all worried about what Putin might do because he's acting irrationally. Going into Ukraine in that unprovoked war, thinking that he was going to take over the country just for his own expansionist dreams, I think was irrational. But that's all the more reason why it's very important for the West to stay united in supporting Ukraine. I had an opportunity to meet with 4 women Ukrainian soldiers last week. And one of the things one young woman sergeant told me, and she'd been fighting in the eastern region.
I know we've been over this, but bear with me. I'm looking for something.
Ukraine, really for years now. And she told me, you need to give us the weapons so that we can fight so that you don't have to.
That's correct.
And I think it's important, and I talk to my constituents, and we in the Senate believe that it's important for us to continue to keep our support for Ukraine, to partner very closely with our allies, and the partnership we have with the United Kingdom has been very important in that. The partnership with NATO has been very important to ensure that we can help the Ukrainians defeat the Russians and hold Putin accountable.
Okay, so you're a politician. You just mentioned your constituents. And many political leaders are in a bind right now because they're saying, how much more of this can we inflict on our people? Inflation, food poverty, energy, soaring energy prices because of what Putin's doing.
Boom, that. Okay, now let's examine that again. What is happening as a direct result of World War III? What happens to America? What happens to Americans? You got half of America saying, yeah, Ukraine, waving Ukrainian flags, right? What is going on in America while this war is going on? Listen closely to the question that the interviewer poses. She goes, well, what about what's going on? What about no money, people starving, people getting, what's going to happen here? Listen to the things that she lists. Here's what's happening.
It's important for us to continue.
Listen to her question.
Keep our support for Ukraine, to partner very closely with our allies, and the partnership we have with the United Kingdom has been very important in that. The partnership.
Now, how much money is America sending? How much equipment? How much armaments? How much ammunition? Okay? And how is that affecting the United States? Listen to the things that she names.
NATO has been very important to ensure that we can help the Ukrainians defeat the Russians and hold Putin accountable.
Watch this whole exchange, okay? What is happening in America as we give all our money, we print more money at the Fed to fund this war? Okay, this is the most important thing. And they just kind of touch on it and they move right back to, yeah, we're going to keep on doing it no matter what. What about the Americans? What's going to happen here? All right. What is going to happen here as a result of the things that she's about to name right now? That's the most important thing that they're sweeping under the rug.
So you're a politician. You just mentioned your constituents, and many political leaders are in a bind right now because they're saying, how much more of this can
we inflict on our people, Americans?
we inflict on our people? Inflation, food poverty, energy.
Inflation. Where's that going? What happens when there ain't no more food? What happens when they shut the lights out over here? No food, no lights, no electricity. Okay? They're going to shut down the money. They're going to cause havoc here. They're going to frog march Orange Man out in handcuffs. And the maggots are going to take to the streets and start this civil and race war that they claim to be dying to bring out. Okay? And get that rude awakening. Right? Just like in the first Civil War.
Energy, soaring energy prices because of what Putin's doing. But you have come back believing that the alliance can stay together.
Listen again. Don't listen to the political thing, but the people.
Constituents, and many political leaders are in a bind right now because they're saying, how much more of this can we inflict on our people? Inflation, food poverty, energy, soaring energy prices because of what Putin's doing. But you have come back believing that the alliance can stay together, as they say, for as long as it has to push Putin back.
I do, and I think it's important that we are able to do that. You know, what history tells us is that if we don't stop this bully, this authoritarian dictator now,
that would be America. Russia hasn't been all over the world destabilizing nations, implanting puppet regimes, and basically they're protecting their homeland. Is what they're doing. And they are in different countries, but not like the United States. They're not doing what the United States is over there doing in the Ukraine right now. Okay? And what she just said is, we don't give a damn what happens to our people here at home. We don't give a fuck. We're going to go do what we do as long as it has to. We're going to spend all of our money and give all of our food and all of our support to a different country, not to our own. Okay? That's what she just said.
Inflation, food poverty, energy, soaring energy prices because of what Putin's doing. But you have come back believing that the alliance can stay together, as they say, for as long as it has to push Putin back.
I do, and
So she just said, we're going to put this war above our own people. We're already ready for that. That's part of the plan. What plan? The NWO.
it's important that we are able to do that. You know, what history tells us is that if we don't stop this bully, this authoritarian dictator now, that he has other designs beyond Ukraine. I was just in Bosnia, in the Western Balkans, and you can see the evidence of Russia's disinformation in the Balkans, of their meddling, of their trying to separate the Republic of Srpska.
That's the former Soviet Union. I'm sorry. We're all worried about what Putin might do. Well, wait a minute. Putin ain't never dropped no nuke or no atomic bomb on nobody. Who would that be? Who's got the track record of doing that? So with that, let's get wars and rumors of wars. We know what's going on here. Matthew 24:6, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be in trouble for all these things was come to pass, but the end is not yet. Wars and rumors of wars. You will hear of wars and threats. What's this word? What they blame it on? Vlad. Right? Okay. Irrational nuclear threat. Well, hey, it's jumping off the pages. Where are we at? You will hear wars and threats, rumors, rumors. And you'll begin to hear of wars and reports. Rumors, reports, threats, and the news of battles. And that's what you're getting. You're getting all of the above, all right? So with that, we hope. I know I went a little long and I was a little long-winded. Salakia, forgive me. But that is our report for the day. We hope that the elect were edified, you brothers and few sisters. With that, I'm going to say shalom.